Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I bid to our respected lecturer, Sir Mark, and to all the audiences that are currently watching this video. Welcome back to the second episode of MUET Reading Strategies by Avant. So, today we will be focusing on another three SOPs of MUET Reading question, which is the first one is Me Consum, that stands for main idea, conclusion, and summary. Next, we're going to focus on facts or opinion, FO. And last one, we will explain on MNG question, which is meaning. As usual, today we are together with another two members of Avant, which are Afifah Solehah and Alyaa Syabil. So, without further ado, let's moving on to the first SOP of my reading strategies, which is FO. Okay, I will be explaining on the FO SOP of my reading strategies. Okay, when you tend to answer FO type of question, first and foremost, you have to identify how FO question look like. So first, you have to read the statement or question. Usually for FO types of question, they usually contain signal words such as accept, true, or false. So in the statement or the question given, you have to determine whether the question contains the signal words such as those words such as accept, true, or false. So if the words are present in the statement or question, therefore it is a FO question. Next, after you have found the signal words, you have to highlight the keywords in the statement or the question. Then you have to bear in mind that all those keywords in the statement or question are not usually as same or will be the same in the text, as most of the question will be paraphrased in the text. So you have to use the synonym words to search it in the text. After you have highlighted the keywords, moving on to the third step, which is you need to skim throughout the passage to determine which paragraph that contain or related with the keywords. After you have determined the paragraph, you have to scan in the paragraph to determine if the keywords are related to the question or statement or the options of the answer given. After you have get to find the keyword, next step is that you need to compare and decide whether the keywords found in the text match or not match with the keywords that are present in the statement, question, or the answer option. And last but not least, you have to choose the most accurate and match with the keywords found and answer your question. So, I will further explain by demonstrating to you on how to apply the SOP on the FO question. So, the question number 11 is the example of FO type question. As we read through the question, the following applications are found on Facebook except. So the word accept here is the signal words of you to identify whether it is a FO type question or not. So the accept words are present, therefore it is a FO types of question. And next, we need to highlight the keywords, which is in this statement. The keywords are such as applications are found on Facebook. And then we read through the option given, chat, notes, and photo grid. Next, what we need to do is that we need to skim throughout the passage to determine the paragraph which related to the keywords. So as you skim through the paragraph here, you can get to notice that the paragraph in the paragraph 3, there are those keywords mentioned in the statement above. So we proceed on to the next step, which is you need to scan through the paragraph to find the keywords that related to the statement, question, or the answers option. So as I have highlighted here, Facebook, notes, and the chat are two of the answer in the answer provided in the options. So the next step is that we need to compare whether the options in the statement are related with the keywords in the text. In the text, we get to notice that notes and chats are present, but we don't get to see photo grid mentioned in the text. Therefore, for the last step, we need to choose the most accurate answer and match with the keywords found. So we can conclude that for question 11, the following applications are found on Facebook except C is the answer. As because photo grid doesn't even mention in the text, as the only mention in the text are only notes and the chest. Therefore, the answer for question 11 is C. So moving on to the next example. So for question 20, it is another example of FO types of question. As we read it through the question, the following are some of the advantages of playing with Barbie dolls except. So, as usual, we use the S.O.P to answer this question. First, we need to identify FO question. So, this word except is one of the signal words used to determine the FO question. Next, for the second step is that we need to highlight the keywords present in the statement. So, the keywords which I have highlighted is the advantages of playing with Barbie dolls. So, this is one of the keywords in the statement. So for the third step is that we need to skim throughout the passage to determine the paragraph which related to these keywords. So as we skim through the paragraph, you can get to see here in the paragraph 6 and 7, both that I have highlighted is the one of the advantages of playing with Barbie dolls. So we scan in the paragraph to find the keywords, which is for A, young girls can expand their own potential. B, young girls develop their aspirations for the future. And C, young girls are inspired to be the perfect woman in the future. So, as we have determined the paragraph, we scan through the paragraph to search for the keywords. So here, the phrase "she has been a source of inspiration among young girls" is actually uh, the answer in B, which is young girls develop their aspirations for the future. Whereas the phrase of expand their sense of potential rather than the opposite here is actually related to the first answer, which is young girls can expand their own potential. However, for the answer C, young girls are inspired to be the perfect woman in the future, are actually not even mentioned in the text. Therefore, we can conclude here that the answer for question 20 is C, as both A and B is actually present in the text, and it is a fact as it has been mentioned in the text rather than C, because the keyword, we can't find any keywords of C in the text. Therefore, the answer for 20, advantages of playing with dolls, except C, because A and B is actually the correct advantages of playing with Barbie dolls. Therefore, I will pass it to Syabil to give another example to answer FO type of question. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Qushairy. Okay, this is my question for FO. So first of all, we need to identify the question. So we can see in this question that is mentioned the signal word, which is accept, So this is an FO question. Then we read the question. The following are true concerning tertiary education, except. So after this, we need to skim the passage. So when we skim the passage, we can find the answer in paragraph 3. Paragraph 3 is stated education, so it is easy for us to find where is the answer. So it says Um, the answer, the question, the option given are there are more female than male students. There is unequal gender representation in various fields of study, and enrollment pattern of male and female students is accepted to be reversed. So as we can see from this paragraph, it mentions that women account two-thirds of the world's 774 million illiterates, and it also mentioned about gender disparities, means that it is not balanced, means the other gender is more than the other, and it is also mentioned that declining gender disparities. So they are trying to make it the same. They are not to uh, to change that. So we can see that there are more females than male students, which are mentioned, and there are unequal gender, which is also true because it was already mentioned that females are more than males. So the answer is enrollment pattern of male and female students is expected to be reversed because it doesn't mention at all in the passage. Okay, next is this question. Okay, first of all, we read the mall of short hills is thriving because of the following except. So except, as we mentioned, it is an FO question. It is a signal word for it. And then we read it says about the mall at short hills is thriving because. So it was the reason. Okay, and then we skim through the passage and we found that in paragraph 7 the mall of short hills is mentioned and it says to have a wealthy demographic involving lineup of tenants and services, a quality of anchor tenants and other factors. When we see in the answer option, it mentions that it is well supported by rich clients, which are mentioned here. Wealthy demographics, so benefiting from wealthy demographics. So it is supported by a rich client. And then it says attract tenants to run their business there, which also mentions here quality of anchor tenants and all factors and other factors. And also it says provide range of service to its customers, which are mentioned here, and involving lineup of tenants and services. So the answer is B because it doesn't mention that it's managed by research and advisory firm. Okay, so the answer is B. Next, I'll pass it to Afifah to continue demonstrating the S.O.P for FO.
All right, thank you, Syabil and Heidi. So right now I'll be sharing my screen to demonstrate to you on how to apply those SOP that has been explained by Heidi into the questions, MUET reading questions that might be helpful to you during your examination. All right. Okay, so I'll be starting with the first questions. Okay, so the first step is to identify FO questions. Okay, what has been explained by Qushairy just now. Okay, so to identify the FO question is to find the indicator word such as the accept word. So this is obviously an FO questions. Okay, so the second one is to highlight the keywords. Okay, so the keywords here is the following was, so the keywords for the question number 11, the following was reported accept. Okay, was reported is the keyword. Okay, once what was reported in the report accept. So it wants something that was not reported. Okay, so the third step is to skim throughout the passage to determine the paragraph which related to the keywords. Okay, so after we skim, we'll know the paragraph that is related would be the fourth and the fifth paragraph. I found it in the fourth and fifth paragraph. And the scan the paragraph to find the keywords related to questions or statement or options. Okay, so in the paragraph 4, I found the Tangshan was rebuilt after the 1976 earthquake. It was mentioned here the entire city of Tangshan had to be rebuilt after several earthquakes. So it is true. So this isn't the answer. The second one is the impact of aftershocks activities will not be very strong. Okay, so this one is the aftershock activity can last a long time, but the impact would not very strong. So it is mentioned also. So the C, the mass media, was used to inform people of Mao Zedong's death. Here, it is stated that 1976, which killed almost 250,000 people and heralded the death of Mao Zedong. But it is not stated that the mass media was used to inform the media of Mao Zedong's death. So the answer is C. Because it is not reported, it wasn't reported in the report. All right, so moving on to the next question. Okay, so the first step would be to identify FO questions. Okay, which of the following are recommend strategy for writing a scholarship essay? This one is a FO question because it wants us to choose which one is the factual or which one is the opinion questions. Okay, second one is to highlight the keywords. Which of the following are recommended strategies for writing a scholarship essay? Okay, so the third step is to skim throughout the passage to determine the paragraph. Okay, so if we skim throughout the passage, then we'll get to see that paragraph 6 has scholarship that require essay usually receive fewer applications. Then it's obviously it will be in this paragraph. Okay, so scan the paragraph to find the keyword related to the questions. Okay, so strategies writing a scholarship essay. So the first option, read previous winning essays, sacrifice a lot of time to write the essay, be aware of the mission of the scholarship. Okay, so here, it is important to understand the scholarship mission and also read previous year's winning applications. So the phrases here, it match as we compare to the fifth, according to the fifth step, the phrases here match the phrases in the questions. Read previous winning essays and be aware of the mission of the scholarship. But the second option, sacrifice a lot of time to write the essay, is not even mentioned in the passage. So the answer is B. I am deciding the answer is B. So I think that's all for the FO, strategy, SOP, and demonstrating time from us. So we hope that you get a bit of ideas on how to answer MUET reading questions for FO questions. I think that's all for FO questions.
Now, let's proceed to the second SOP of MUET reading strategies, which is Me Konsam, which will be explained by Alyaa Syabil. Over to you, Alyaa Syabil.
Okay, thank you, Qushairy. So next I'll be explaining the SOP for Me Konsam question. So Me Konsam stands for main idea, conclusion, and summary. So before we answer, we need to identify the type of questions, whether it is main idea, conclusion, or summary by highlighting the keywords. But a side note, the keyword might not be mentioned as main idea as the word given. It may be paraphrased. I will show it in the question in a bit. And then next we need to read the question carefully by scanning the question repeatedly for a few times in getting a better understanding. And after you read that, you need to refer the passage. So this step will differ according to the question, according to the type of questions. So if it is if it asks for main idea, you need to skim the first and last sentence in the paragraph. However, it may also be in the middle of the paragraph. So you need to skim carefully. And then if it's a conclusion, you need to read and skim the last sentence in the paragraph and try to conclude the passage based on the supporting details mentioned. So as for conclusion, the answer might be paraphrased. So it doesn't mean that the answer will be the exact same as the passage. So you need to paraphrase it. And then lastly is summary, where you need to read the entire paragraph stated and identify the keywords. This also may be paraphrased. Okay, after you refer the passage, you need to go through the answers and eliminate the answer choices which are not um, sabar. Okay, as for the first step, you need to go through the answers and eliminate the answer choices which are not related to the answer. And then lastly, you need to circle the correct answer. So for further understanding, I will demonstrate it on this example question. So first of all, we need to identify whether it is a main idea, conclusion, or summary. So the question is, the main point in the concluding paragraph is, so we can see that the keyword is main point, which is the same exact meaning as main idea. Then the other keyword is concluding paragraph is. So concluding paragraph basically is the last paragraph of the passage. So we look at the last paragraph. So and then we need to scan the first and last sentence of the paragraph, which is one of the most useful thing. TFA and its many offshoots can do with prerequisites. The founder editor to describe the transformation of teaching, and the last word is the last sentence is back in Baltimore. Mr. Mentino says her main task is to ensure her pupils believe that too. So we can see that in the first and the last sentence doesn't mention anything about the point. So we need to read the sentence in the middle of the paragraph, which is to demonstrate that for children that barely literate families can learn if they have excellent teachers. So we go back to the question, and then we need to go through to each answer choices, and then highlight and then eliminate the ones that are not related to the answer. So first of all, the family background does not affect learning. It doesn't mention that. So it isn't. And then the teaching professions can be transformed. It also doesn't mention in this paragraph. And lastly, every child can learn if taught by good teachers. So from here we can see that it says that poor children can barely literate families can learn if they have excellent teachers. So it tries to explain that children can learn if they are taught by excellent teachers. So excellent teachers are referred into good teachers. So the answer is C. So the next question is what is the central idea of paragraph 4? Okay, first we need to identify. So it says central idea. So central idea has the same meaning of main idea too. And then it says to find it in paragraph 4. So we need to go to paragraph 4. Oh, sorry. We need to scan the passage. But as it is already mentioned, there is a passage in paragraph 4. It is in paragraph 4. Okay, and then we need to skim the first and last sentence. So the first sentence, online shopping attracts customers' attention in agency. The vast majority purchases are still in person, in which well-known Kmart before the checkout counter. And the last, which is last month, parent analysis said the tree was substantial doubt and continuous stories mean are increasingly confronted by the crisis of retail past. So it says to find the main idea. So we need to go through the answers and eliminate one by one. So it says that it is becoming difficult for physical retail store to survive, which is said here that there was substantial doubt that it could continue operating. So they have their doubt the whether the physical retail store continue its uh, will continue. And then it says about Americans prefer buying online shopping to shopping at malls. This cannot be found. It cannot be found in this paragraph. And then the total volume of e-retail business is still small, which is not mentioned here also. And lastly, the department stores are suffering huge losses. So it isn't mentioned here too. So the best answer for this is A. Okay. Next, I will be passing it to Afifah for further understanding in demonstrating the SOP for Kuantan question.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Syabil. So right now I'll be demonstrating my questions to you guys on how to apply the SOP, SOP into the MUET reading questions. Alright, so I'll be sharing my screen right now. Okay, so I'll start with the first questions. Okay, so question number 13. I'll start with by the first step. Okay, identify the type of questions. Okay, so from the report, we can conclude that, okay, so the type of question here is the conclusion type of questions. So highlight that. Okay, so the second step would be read the questions carefully, scanning the questions and repeatedly to get better understanding from the report. So from this report, and I'll read the answer. The people of Tangshan have forgotten the 1976 earthquake. The Chinese authorities are prepared to face future earthquakes, and the Chinese people are resigned to living in earthquake-prone areas. Okay, so I'll be referring to the passage as this is the conclusion type of questions. So I need to read and skim the last sentence in the paragraph and try to conclude the passage based on the supporting details mentioned. Last sentence of every paragraph. The so-called double August occurred in 1976 and began on 26 August this year. It lasts until 23rd October. And then predictions that natural disasters and cataclysmic political events such as the death of Mao occur in late August. About 40 aftershocks, the strongest of which measure 2.5 on the Richter scale, were recorded later in that day. Aftershock activity can last a long time, but the impact will not be very strong. He said the entire city of Tangshan had to be rebuilt after several quakes, registering 7.0 on the Richter scale hit the industrial cities. And although the Tangshan Seismology Bureau failed to predict this one, the State Seismology Bureau forecast in March that China will experience a number of strong quakes in future because of new period of seismic activity was beginning. And for the concluding paragraph, I'll read this year, China also said it will implement a nationwide anti-disaster program to protect people in its largest city, dams, and agricultural areas from earthquakes. So as we can see here from the report, we can conclude that. So it is stated here that the people of Tangshan have forgotten the 1976 earthquake. It is not true because it is obvious that it's mentioning about the occurred in 70s and began 26 August this year. It has mentioned few times about the year 1976 year in the passage, which is, it means that they are not forgotten. They haven't forgot the 1976 earthquake. And the Chinese authorities are prepared to face future earthquakes. So as we can see here, the last paragraph, China also said it will implement a nationwide anti-disaster program to protect people in its largest city, dams, and agricultural areas from earthquakes. So it is paraphrasing this one, the B option. The Chinese authorities are prepared for to face future earthquakes. It means the same as the seventh paragraph, China also it say it will implement a nationwide anti-disaster program to protect people in its largest city, dams, and agriculture area from the earthquakes. And the C answer, C option, the Chinese people are resigned to living in earthquake-prone areas. It is not stated at all here and at all in the passage. So the answer is B. Okay, so the second question will be the question number 20. Which of the following sentence expresses the main idea? So this question asks for the main idea of the paragraph, of the paragraph 13. So highlight the main idea and paragraph 13. Allahu Akbar. Paragraph 13. All right, so read the questions carefully. Scanning the question repeatedly for a few times. People should be extra careful during total eclipse. We must not be too worried about the results of an eclipse. Fortune tellers are able to make prophecies during a total eclipse. Okay, so main idea in paragraph 13. So we'll go to paragraph 13 here. On the other hand, fortune tellers say all the same awful thing. So since the main idea stated in the S.O.P is scheme the first and last sentence in the paragraph, may also be in the middle paragraph, but this one it also has two sentence. On the other hand, fortune tellers say all these same awful things would happen when Jupiter was struck by those comets a year ago. They didn't happen. So here, by reading here, we might not see the clearest view of what it is trying to say to tell us in this paragraph. So we might need to read another previous paragraph. Fortune tellers are especially worried this time because of the upcoming eclipse will be seen in as many as 11 provinces around Thailand. This has never happened before. They say there will be intense flood, a government will fall, the leader of our country will have bad luck, famous people will die, and earthquake will strike, Dr. Devanam said. On the other hand, fortune tellers said all the same awful things would happen when Jupiter was struck by those comets a year ago. They didn't happen. So here, people should be extra careful during the total eclipse. It is not stated in the paragraph 13 because it is just stated. It is not stated in paragraph 12 also. So this is I'll be eliminating this one. So the B, we must not be too worried about the results of an eclipse. So as we can see here, on the other hand, fortune tellers say all these same awful things would happen when Jupiter was struck by those comets a year ago. They didn't happen. So it is trying to tell us that we shouldn't be worried about that because it didn't happen. Because fortune tellers have been telling us about that, but it didn't happen. So we must not be worried about the result of an eclipse. This might be the answer, B. But let's take a look at C. Fortune tellers are able to make prophecies during a total eclipse. It is not even mentioned it is mentioned in the 13 paragraph, but it is not the main thing about what they are trying to tell us, about what they are trying to deliver to us in the 13th paragraph. So the answer would be B. We must not be too worried about the results of an eclipse. So I am done with my demonstration. So let's proceed with Qushairy to have his demonstration.
Okay, thank you, Afifah. So I will further explain another two example on answering me consam type of question. Okay. Okay. As we can see from the 13th question, from the article we can conclude that Facebook. So as we follow the SOP, the first step we need to do is we have to identify the type of question. So for this question, the type of question is conclusion. As it answers from the article, we can conclude that Facebook, and then we need to scan the question carefully and by reading it repeatedly. So for A, it's too complicated to be used by students or teenagers. B, will lose its popularity once the users are introduced to the new version. And C, it's constantly adding new features and applications to attract more users to its sites. So for conclusion type of questions, we need to read and skim the last sentence in the paragraph and try to conclude the passage based on the supporting details mentioned. So let's skim through the last paragraph of the passage. So, the fifth paragraph is the last paragraph of the passage. So we skim through the last sentence of the paragraph, which is Facebook migrated all users to the new version in September 2008. So after we read this, we have to read through the passage, which is for the first sentence, Facebook launched GIF on 8 February 2007, which allows users to send virtual GIF to their friends. And in the middle of the paragraph, it said that on 20 July 2008, Facebook introduced Facebook Beta, where the mini feed and wall were consolidated and profiles were separated into tabled sections in an effort to create a cleaner look. Then we go through the question again, and we look through the options of answer, which is we can see that it's too complicated to be used by students or teenagers. But in the concluding paragraph, he doesn't see any statement or phrase that state it is complicated to be used by students. And second, we lost its popularity once the users are introduced to the new version. It also doesn't even mention in the last paragraph where um, it will lose its popularity once the users are introduced to the new version. However, for the third answer, it says that it's constantly adding new features and applications to attract more users to its site. As we look through the last paragraph, it said that Facebook migrated all users to the new version in September 2008. It is another words or paraphrase words used that to attract more users to its sites. It is actually relatable to this particular phrase, which that Facebook migrated all users to the new version in September 2008. And another keywords is that it constantly adding new features and applications. So as we look in the last paragraph, you can see that Facebook have launched GIF and Facebook Beta, where in the Facebook launch GIF is like another application, which is the users can send visual GIF to their friends, and when the Facebook introduced Facebook Beta, the mini feed and wall were consolidated and profiles were separated into tab sections in an effort to create a cleaner look. So it's actually as same as what we can conclude that Facebook is constantly adding new features and applications to attract more users to its sites, as at the last sentence of the last paragraph, it stated that Facebook migrated all users to the new version in September 2008. Therefore, the answer for question 13 is C. So moving on to the next example. For question 16, the main idea of paragraph 2 is, so as the first step in the S.O.P is that we need to identify the type of question. So for question 16, the type of question is actually the main idea as it is clearly stated in the statement. Second, we need to read the question carefully. So it is also mentioned that the main idea of paragraph 2. So the information is provided in paragraph 2 as it as clearly mentioned here. And we will read through the options of answer given. Young girls like to play with baby dolls. Young girls require dolls to expand their imagination, and adult female dolls play a role in a young girl's development. So, for the main idea, we need to skim the first and last sentence in the paragraph, which it also may be present in the middle of the paragraph. So, let's go to paragraph 2. So, here is the paragraph 2. It is stated here that in the early 1950s, Ruth Handler, one of the founders of metal, saw that her young daughter Barbara and her girlfriends enjoyed playing with adult female dolls as much or more than with baby dolls. Handler sensed that it was just as important for young girls to imagine what they themselves might grow up to become. So, as we um, look through the uh, answer of option given, we can say that young girls like to play with baby dolls. It doesn't even related with the statement in the passage as because it's stated here that Barbara and her girlfriends enjoyed playing with adult female dolls as much or more than baby dolls. Therefore, the answer for A is totally wrong, as it mentioned like to play with baby dolls. So it is a contradict. So for B, young girls require dolls to explain their imagination. It also doesn't mention or relate it with the keywords that we have found in the paragraph 2, as it mentioned that it was just important. It was just as important for young girls to imagine what they themselves might grow up to become. So, as we compare it to the last option of the answer, adult female dolls play a role in young girls' development. We can clearly see that it is actually the same message as what have been provided in the text, as Handley sense that it was just as important for young girls to imagine what they themselves might grow up to become. So, the answer for question 16 is actually C, as the main idea of paragraph 2 is actually we want to explain that adult female dolls actually play a role in a young girl's development, as we can relate it with the keyword that we have just found in paragraph 2 itself. Therefore, it is how you apply the SOP for me consum to answer the main idea, conclusion, or summary type of question. So I hope that after you have listened to the explanation that has been explained by Alyaa, Syabil, and Afifah, you can get to answer me some question after this. Now, let's proceed to the last scheme of procedure of answering MAG type of question. For this SOP, I will pass it over to Afifah for further explanation. Over to you, Afifah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Okay, so right now I'll be presenting to you about our group's SOP for MNG type of questions that might be helpful for you to answer MNG type of question during MUET reading examination in the future. Alright, so right now I'll be sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, so right now I'll be starting to present to you before I start before I start presenting the SOP, our group's SOP. I will be explaining to you of clues in answering the MNG questions. Okay, so firstly, there are two clues in answering the MNG question, which are the contextual clues and also the word structure clues. Okay, so the contextual clues consist of 6 contextual clues, which are definition, synonym, contrast, experience, example, and clue from another sentence. Okay, so for the definition clues, you will know it is definitions clues because the phrases that introduce the definitions, such as the word refers to, means, known as, is defined as, and so etc. And the second contextual clues is the synonym, phrases that introduce synonyms, which the words that indicate the synonyms are such as also known as, by this mean, in other words, etc. And the contextual clues is the words and phrases that indicates opposites, and it can be the indicator would be the words such as instead of, but, in contrast, on the other hand, etc. And for the experience, information that you are already know. Experience contextual clues can help you to figure out the meaning of a new word. Yes, it is the thing or phrases that we are very much familiar because we have already experienced that. Okay, so for the example contextual clues are the words that introduce examples of the meaning of the unfamiliar word. Okay, this the words, the contextual clues, for the example contextual clues, The indicators are such as the word such as, for instance, for example, the word that we usually use during our writing. Okay, so the last contextual clues is a clue from another sentence. So it is the additional information in another sentence which we might be using frequently during our MUET reading examination during when we are answering the MNG type of questions. All right, moving on to the second clues, which is the word structure clues. Okay, so the word structure clues is the which consists of three things, which three contexts, which are the root, prefix, and suffix. Okay, so the prefix is the word attached to the beginning of the word. Suffix is the word attached to the end of the root word. All right. So I'll be giving you an example for the word structure clues, such as the word unpredictable. Okay, so the word unpredictable, the root word is predict. Okay, the prefix is the un word in the front. Okay, the suffix is the able word in the end of the word. So unpredictable means, predict means you can assume or make assumptions or estimate something in the future, and un means no, and able means able to do something. So unpredictable means you are not able to do something like that. Okay. Okay, moving on, I will present to you the SOP. Okay, so the first thing to do when we are answering the MNG type of questions, you will need to identify the MNG type of questions. Okay, how can we know that it is an MNG type of question? Okay, you will know the MNG type of questions if the question asks for the meaning or synonym of the word or phrases. Okay, so the second step is to read and identify the question. Read and identify carefully the keyword, and by underlining them. We need to identify the keyword by underlining them to get the clearest view of what we are doing, of what we are searching or determining. Okay, so the third step is to refer. Refer to the clues by using the strategies in identifying the contextual clues and word structure clues, which I have already explained to you guys during the previous slide. All right, so the fourth step is to decide. If the question asks for the meaning or synonym of a word, scanning technique is not necessary. But if the question asks for the meaning or synonym of the phrases or expressions, scanning technique is a must in order to get the answer by using the contextual clues. And the fifth step is to locate the answer choice that fits the question and try to match them until it truly fits and circle the most possible answer. Okay, so I'll move on. I'll share. So I will explain to you guys further by applying those SOP in the MNG type of questions. All right. Okay. So, so the first question is the question number 12. The word predict line 24 means. All right. So firstly, you need to identify the MNG type of questions. All right. This is the MNG type of question because it's asked the means. Okay. This can be the contextual clues for definition. Type of contextual clues. Okay. So the second one is to read and identify the keyword by underlining them. So predict. It asks for the meaning of the word predict. Line 24. And refer to the clues by using a strategy, contextual clues, or word structure clues. Okay, so we'll use the word predict here, line 24, in paragraph 6. Okay, although the Tangshan Seismology Bureau failed to predict this one, the State Seismology Bureau forecast in March that China would experience a number of strong quakes in future because of a period of seismic activity was beginning. Okay, we can use the clue from another sentence. Predict, although the Tangshan Seismology Bureau failed to predict this one, the State of Seismology Bureau forecast in March that China would experience number of strong quakes in future because of a new period of seismic activity was beginning. Okay, so the word predict, line 24 means, okay, it has three options: notice, forecast, and prophecy. Notice is unlikely to be the right answer. Forecast means something that, okay, forecast means that it is something that we want to predict, but it is from the experts findings. And prophecy is something that we predict, but not from the experts finding. So here, the context here is something that although the Tangshan Seismology Bureau failed to predict. So this one is the forecast. Forecast is the answer because it is from the experts finding, as we can see here, as we use the clue from another sentence or the definition clue. The State of Seismology Bureau forecasts in March that China would experience a number of strong quakes. As here it uses the same word, and here might be this, here to use the same synonym. Okay, so for the second questions, the phrase all walks of life, line 14 means, okay. Okay, so the phrase all walks of life, line 14 means, first one is to identify the MNG questions. Okay, MNG means, okay, it's stated that it is an MNG questions. Read and identify the keywords. Phrase all walks of life, line 14. All right, refer to the clues by using strategy in identifying the contextual clues and word structure clues. All walks of life, line 14. So decide if the question asks for the meaning synonym of the word. Okay, right now it is asking for the phrases or expressions. So scanning technique is a must here. Previously, the scanning technique isn't a must. Okay. Line 14. We'll search for the line 14 here. Here. All walks of life from paragraph 3. Okay. So right after we have decided, so we'll use the phrases all walks of life, line 14 means people with lots of hobby, people from all over the world, people from different social classes, collectors who want to sell their collections. Cool. From here, we can understand we need to use the contextual clues that require us to use clues from another sentence. So here, from antique coins, collectibles, computers, memorabilia, stamps, toys, or even frames, you can buy or sell almost anything on eBay. In fact, people seem to sell just about anything on eBay. eBay seems to appeal to people of all ages and from all walks of life. So here, people with lots of hobbies, I don't think that's the right answer, because it says that in fact people sell just about anything on eBay. eBay seems to appeal to people of all ages, and if it's from all ages, then it might be something with our lifestyle. You know what I mean? From all over the world, no, because it is from all over the world, but this isn't the point that he is trying to deliver to us, that it is trying to deliver. People from different social classes, it might be, and collectors who want to sell their collections. No, because eBay is wide and people know that it is for everyone. So the answer is C, because based on our own knowledge too, we can use our common sense to know that people from different social classes, because yes, obviously eBay is for everyone. Okay, I think that's all for my demonstration for MNG type of questions. So right now I will pass to Syabil to proceed with her demonstration on MNG questions.
Okay, thank you, Afifah. So I'll be continuing the demonstration. Okay. This, okay. Okay, for this question, it asks, first of all, we need to identify the MNG question. So here, the word is means. So it mentions, then we need to identify the keyword by underlining them. So the keyword is just jettisoning, and it refers to line 28. Line 28. So we go to the passage and line 28, and then we need to refer to the clues by using the contextual clues that can be found before and after. So this is the word jettisoning. So and then jettisoning. So we need to read it. So first of all, it says a cuckoo chick is bad news. It means extra responsibility for surrogate parents, and it also kills their actual young by jettisoning them from the nest. So as we can see here, this word is a verb, whereby the parents of the bird will kill their babies from the nest. So here the answer provide is chasing, throwing, and abandoning. So it says that it kills it. So by chasing and abandoning it, it doesn't kill the bird, but it's more to like separating them from their parents. So and then it says from the nest. So it can the most suitable answer will be throwing them from the nest, which will cause them to die. Okay, next question is the so here the word here we see it means, and then the word that we are going to find the meaning is go getting, which is in line 26. So we can see from line 26 the sentence is go getting youngsters are attracted by the lack of requirement for a teaching qualification, the chance to make a difference. Many applicants have degrees in mathematics and science subjects where teachers are sacked. Typically, just 1 in 10 is escape. Okay. So here the option given is ambitious, courageous, and outstanding. So first of all, it says that they have lack of requirements. So being outstanding doesn't actually align with that sentence. Okay, so and then between ambitious and courageous. So being courageous doesn't in this way doesn't mean that they have they are actually having the courage to become a teacher, but they are more to like their own intentions in it. So this shows that ambitious is the correct answer, as being an ambitious youngster attracts being an ambitious youngster doesn't require them to be a specific qualification to be a teacher, because they tend to be attracted to other things other than teaching. So the answer is A. So that's all from me. I will pass it to Qushairy to further the demonstration on MNG questions.
Okay, thank you, Syabil. So I will be explain another example of answering MNG type of question. Okay. Okay. For question number 12, we can first according to S.O.P, we have to identify the MNG type of question. So for question 12, the word customizable line 16 means. So the word means here definitely show us that it is definitely a MNG type of question. So the second one, we need to read and identify the question carefully and identify the keywords by aligning them. So in this question, the word customizable and line 16 is the two keywords mentioned in the question. So we will further to the third step, which is we need to refer to the clues by using the strategy in identifying the contextual clue and the word structure clues. So it is stated here line 16. So let's go down to line 16. So here is the line 16. And this is the word customizable that it asks us to explain the meaning of customizable. So according to our general knowledge, customizable is most likely to something that we can change. Okay, so if we read through the uh, sentence here, appropriate customizable privacy features were introduced and users were able to control what type of information gets shared automatically with friends. So uh, in the question, the first answer is to be able to change the features to suit individual needs. to be able to control information that is posted on Facebook, and C, to limit information that could be automatically shared with friends. So, as we can define the word customizable in line 16, we can see that it is actually enable the users to control what the information gets shared automatically with friends. And also we can see also from the previous sentence which that users homepage and highlight information including profile changes, occurring events and body of the user's friends. We can conclude here that the word customizable is actually to be able to change the features to suit individual needs. As we can relate it with our general knowledge, customizable means we can change according to our needs or our preference. So I think that the answer A is the most accurate answer for this particular question. So moving on to the next example. So the question 18. As usual, we will answer it according to the S.O.P. First, we have to determine whether the question is actually a MNG type of question. So the phrase Barbie's popularity has rarely flagged. Line 19 means that. So the word means that it clearly indicates that this particular question is MNG types of question. Second, we need to read the question carefully and identify the keyword by underlining them. So in this particular question, the keywords Barbie's popularity has rarely flagged line 19. It is as same as the previous question. It provides us the line where we can find this exact phrase of Barbie's popularity has rarely flagged. And then we need to refer the clues by identifying the context clues and word structure clues. So as we can see that this particular question is a phrase. Therefore, the scamming technique is a must in order for us to get the answer by using the contextual clue. So let's go to line 19. Okay, here. Since then, Barbie's popularity has rarely flagged. So based on the answer I provided, you can see that A, the doll has had many ups and downs. The sales figures has always been good, and C, the market demands has always fluctuated. So as we look through the phrase in the passage, we can see that the young girls clamored for the doll, and Barbie set a new sales record for metal in its first year on the market, which is $351,000 at $3 each. Since then, Barbie's popularity has really flagged. So um, what we can know by the phrase Barbie's popularity has really flagged is that we can relate it that the sales figure has always been good. Why I choose B? Because it's stated here that the Barbie has set a new sales record for metal in its first years on the market, according to this particular numbers here. So you can say that the sales of Barbie dolls is actually has always been good, even on its first year of launch. So if we answer A is doesn't really define the meaning of Barbie's property has really flagged, as it said that the doll has had many ups and downs, and the market demands has always fluctuated. Also, is not relatable as it doesn't um, related with this statement or information provided in the passage. Therefore, the answer B is the most suitable answer for the meaning of phrase Barbie's popularity has really flagged. And that's how you answer the MLG question based on the S.O.P that have been explained. So that's all on how to apply the MNG S.O.P on answering the MNG type of question. Again, we hope that you all can understand it and tend to apply it in answering the MAG question next in your future. In a nutshell, those are all three SOPs that you need in order to answer the three type of question, which is me-consum type of question, FO type of question, and MNG type of question. We hope that you all have fully focused on our explanation and hoping that you all will apply it in order to answer those type of question in your MUET reading test in the future. I'd like to thank to all the panelists that have been explained throughout this episode. And thank you to all the audiences that are watching this video, and we're hoping again that you all can excel in answering, especially the MUET reading type of question in your future. That's all from us. See you in the next episode. Bye.